Look, Umfundisi spoke of 4 things that are very important, which I believe all of us can use them as principle of life. Love one another. That is one of the principles that Jesus said to almost bobonga bantu, almost each and every scriptures before he can even end his preaching. Which I believe he talks to us as iSangoma to say that for us not to be confused, I believe when we are here serving abantu, one of the things that you need to do it is to love nabo bantu nabo. Love your gift first. It's loving your gift and loving the people that you are serving. Then you cannot be confused because it talks about into oyiyo wena, because that thing has been instilled kuwe as one of the Christian values. Most of us who grew up at church, you see, it is one of the things that shaped us. For me, if it wasn't for the fact that the two coexist together, I would have never been here. And if this gift was about, because one of the things that esibulala ukuthi Ubungoma for very long of time, bafaki stigma kuso, and then it clouded everything that was good about abantu basemakwethu. So if it wasn't about indaba ukuthi ngoku we respect into yobana Ubungoma, actually we change the narrative. It is about witchcraft, and all of those things that are very dark, nobumnyama, and all of those forces. Then but because of love, loving our people first and knowing who you are, it is important. It made me the Ubungoma and Ubuntu, and it made me the person that I am now. Number 2, he talks about indaba ukuthi umfundisi uthi it's about ukuthi xa ungumuntu ube ubuntu. It's very important. It is very important. Makungena umuntu pha, you don't look for imali qala, you look for the person. Noba kuthiwa lo muntu lo akana mali, Ubungoma, once you attach money kubo kakhulu and wena ungajonganga indaba ukuthi you are here to heal a person, then you have lost it. Because sizawuthiwa ngabantu thinking ukuthi ngoku all that Ubungoma is about, it is about making money and all of those things that we see in the social medias. Ukuthi iSangoma, they are becoming richer and richer and richer. It is nonsense, if I may put it like that. Because if ujonga umuntu and you see the value yomuntu qala, then you know ukuthi if value cannot be limited to imali. So those things, Baba, they are things that are holding me to make sure ukuthi they are qhubeka apha ebungomeni. And that is why I'm saying that with those things they coexist, because angeke uthanda abantu ungathandi lento lecala, ungathanda uThixo.
But did the church accept that?
The church accepted it, Baba, because one of the things that they are saying, if the church goes out, one of the things that I have to learn and I loved about church before I even go to Ubuntu, it was to make sure that we spread the gospel through ukuthi you visit people, the sick, the old, and all of those things. You see, it is part of Christian values, abafundisi that are instilling,
so
and also
inclusion.
the church, yes, inclusion of yonke lonto leyo. So when you do that and also see the needy and feed, and also make sure ukuthi if mhlawumbe umuntu unespace and you create gardens, we were part of all of those projects that were happening around the church.
Mkhulu Shobakhulu, can Christianity coexist? We've heard the views.
Yes.
We've heard the narratives.
Yes.
Can Christianity coexist with Ubungoma? Is it something that, we are just trying to do what the society is doing today, accept everything and try to make up something that doesn't exist? Or these two are mutually exclusive?
I think it will depend on the individual. But I, as Shobel Kulu, as I said, I'm an Africanist. What is an Africanist? It's a person that believes in the values and the lifestyle of Africans from the ancient time before the arrival of any race. When I say any race, I'm not talking about the Dutchess. I'm talking about the French and other people that came to Africa. We had our own lives. Our lives never started when the Bible arrives. Our values never started when the Bible arrives. We lived longer before the Bible arrives. The Bible came with solution, but with a short lifespan. So now there is a problem somewhere, somehow. So I don't believe that African belief systems can coexist with Christianity. I don't. The reason-
ibambe njalo mkhulu ndibona izandla ndibona izandla mfundisi quickly.
Can I go?
He
I would like to
and let me
disagree.
repeat, he says it cannot coexist.
I
So
would
what
like
you
to
are doing is
disagree.
wrong.
I would
You
like
can't
to-
be a Sangoma and a Christian.
Yes, I would like to disagree.
Ah.
I'm disagreeing on the merits that we all, both these things, we all believe in the spiritual realm. And if there's a spiritual realm, we then believe that there is a supreme being.
Yes.
And if there is a supreme being, then we believe that no matter what you call this person, at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. Whether you say ki Modimo kapa ke badimo.
Thokoza. Mfundisi, khawusincede nawe ndibone uphakamisa isandla xa ingathi uyatshiseleka.
I want to say to my brother, just put aside Christianity
Yes.
and look at Ubuntu and the values of Ubuntu with what Christ taught us.
Yes.
There is no difference. I want you to show you that. Secondly, iSangoma, which I still want you to define for me, iSangoma ne
Prophet.
healer.
Oh.
Healer.
Oh,
iSangoma neqhele.
oh, meaning igedla.
It's there.
Now,
Yes.
izinto enesisebenzisayo nabaprofeti sezinto ezesizwe enkonzweni nisebenzisa amanzi. When we heal in the church, we use water. Niyaqhumisa impepho. Thina ke ngoba abelungu colonized us, basiyekisa impepho xa befika bathi sisebenzisa incense. Siyaqhumisa nathi.
To cleanse.
You believe ukuthi lamsi wempepho ugxotha imimoya. Nathi we believe umsi we-incense. Hence I agree with you to say you can play with the names. We're doing the same thing.
Mkhulu, ndistophile
Yes, I
qhubekeka.
wanted to explain why I say so.
Yes.
I wanted to start from history.
Yes.
That says we existed as African people with stronger values before the Bible and white people came, or people abroad came into Africa or South Africa. So I want to be specific in South Africa.
Okay.
Maybe
we all agree.
before we go forward.
Yes.
Are you against white people?
I am not against white people. I am against the deeds of white people.
Okay, because I keep on hearing
Yes.
you referencing to before
Yes,
white
because-
people came.
yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that
Yes,
we
no.
move on the same page.
No, I am not a racist.
Yeah. Okay.
Like them. Yes, like them. But all I'm saying I dislike the deeds that they have brought.
Understood.
Because of they caused us many problems. I made a classical example to say we existed ourselves and we lived longer
Yes.
before the Bible came and other religion came into Africa.
Yes.
I do not blame Karl Marx, who is not a black person,
Yes.
when he says he is in his teachings, which is Marxism.
Marxism,
He
yes.
says a religion is like an opium
For the
to poor masses
Yes.
when it is clear,
Yes.
meaning that it's like a drug because of it's an opium.
Yes.
Poor masses have more faith into religion than rich people. This is what Karl Marx was trying to say in that system, to say it was made as an exploitation
Yes.
of people to exploit the poor to make others to be rich. Because of, remember, he is a communist,
Yes.
Karl Marx.
Yes.
So this is what he was teaching. So in short, when I say we all agreed here to say the Bible came to colonize us,
Yes.
came to oppress us.
Yes.
When it came to colonize us and oppress us, it has oppressed our ancestors.
Of course.
Our ancestors passed on in fear because of the Witchcraft Suppression Act
Yes.
that says they should not practice as African people in healing. They rather be in church That's where the concept of African churches were born, to manipulate the Bible in order to put African spirituality. Like today, churches like certain African churches who says these are African churches. They call themselves African churches because of the practicing African culture in a Christian movement. So what I'm saying me, our ancestors, when they died being oppressed, why can't we phahla them himself? Yeah, God. Washona lapha iBhayibheli ligqilaza kodwa ineBhayibheli. Follow the ways of our forefathers
So,
that
okay,
understood.
there seems to be you're touching a nerve. Ugogo Mahlabekufeni is really touched.
He's
Gogo,
touching it.
Okay, I think maybe Umkulu will have something to ask. I think Mina Mkulu, I want to pose a question through you, Baba. Kulento Umkulu ayikhulumayo ukuthi as an Africanist, right? He feels ukuthi Ubungoma and Christianity it's
uthi ugogo wakho makashiye lo Bible.
Yes, so ndifuna ukuza kule nto baba yokuthi Mkhulu as a healer, or if mna ndiyeza as a patient to you and you find ukuthi I need ukuthi ndithwase. Now how do you handle a situation where your initiate would come to you and say, Thokoza Baba, I'm seeing prophet garments. How do you handle that kind of a situation? Because now there's other prophets who are stepping forward, and those people abatandazi, meaning those people bebetawa. So how do you handle such a case where else now you have a itwasa, and this twasa is saying labo gogo nabomkhulu bandihleli ngamajazi neziphiga nentoni as a prophet?
Okay, thanks. Let me answer you. Apart from the example of a twasa, I have a majas myself.
Yeah.
Myself, I have a majas that I pray with.
Pray.
That I pray with. Yes, clearly. That I pray with. I want you to understand very clear. That I pray with. I have the ones that I use when I go to the river to heal people. Those were shown in my dreams. Remember that is Tunya. There is Tunya Sendalo and there is Tunya Sebal. Istunya Sendalo. It is how our forefathers in the past went into the mountain before the Christianity came to pray for the rain, to pray for sicknesses. They were prayer warriors in a different way. They understood the role of Umvelingang. They understood the role of Nomkulu and an angel. They understood the role of Okoko, Nomkulu, which are ancestors. They did not mix this. They did not worship ancestors. They did not worship angels. They worship Umvelingang, which is Kakamacholo. Some they call it Moali. So it's Tunya Sami. You understand? As we call it, is Tunya, the messenger. It works within Indalo. I go to the mountain, I go to the rivers, I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible. I pray because of I'm an African person that is embraced by complete African spirits. So now the indoctrinated spirits, we need to free them. This I say to them, God, Bible Alisa Sabines. I'm not making an insult. Because of they were oppressed, they were forced into this religion and forsaken their own African spirituality of their own forefathers. When there is COVID, they will say, they will send prayer warriors. They will know the places. Either they go to the mountain, they go to the caves or somewhere. Then they will pray because of we understood God before the Bible came. So that's why I wanted to make this clear. To say as an African person, everything that I do, including slaughtering an animal, as a healer myself, animals do not belong to ancestors. We slaughter them to save the spirit of ancestors, but they belong to God. So I pray to God for the life of this animal not to die in vain. So I have those things because of Isambato. It is not church-based. It is spiritually based. So that's why it should not confuse you when I will explain to my child to say, listen, to have this pillar that is blue and white, it does not mean that you should go to a church that works like that until you are directed there. Because of you might go there, then afterwards you start encountering problems. Nabafundi Sibala Payana being a healer, them being 100% Christianity, condemning Ubungoma. So don't go there, my child. I advise that way. Try to wait for an instruction from your own ancestors. If they say church, I say mntanam, kanisikhandlela impepho, tell them church is going to give me a problem. It's going to allow wine, it's going to condemn umqombothi.
Yes.
It's going to allow wine, it's going to condemn umqombothi. It's going to allow human sacrifice, I would say so, in terms of Jesus, and condemn animal sacrifice. So I would say to them, let us revert into our own African ways. Let us understand who we are. Because of this is who I live, and this is who I understand. I have respect for Christian values in the Bible. Hence I say I read the Bible. There are many things that I say, but church, no, thanks.
Quickly, shortly.
Yeah, quickly. I think you are a little bit captured by the word Bible. and you then want to Susi Bible. And we are trying to show you that there's nothing wrong with the Bible. It's a book with beautiful values. Your problem, you look at the Bible and you look at the people who brought it and their intentions. Leave their intentions. Look at the Bible. There are things that you have said. Going to the mountain. Jesus Christ went on top of the mountain to pray. What you are doing. So stick to the values. Forget about who brought it and the people.
Just to make an input, if you allow me, the ancient Egypt, the Kemite, they say the Bible is a stolen book from the Kemetic scriptures. Kemet is in Africa. I want to say this. The Bible cannot teach me that I should not sweep at night because of it does not understand the significance into it. So there are many African teachings that were far better than what the Bible has brought. So I personally believe that I should go backwards and understand the values of African people. How did they survive COVID, if there was COVID in our time? Because of they came across, African people did not go to a surgeon. For an example, when the baby speak, there was something that they will do for the child to come out, taking the concept of an animal which does not go to a cesarean, even if it can take out something. Those are values me as an African person. I say, the Bible, you are a new book, stay there. Let me go back to our African culture, firstly, and understand there what is happening, the concept of God, angels, demons, and also in an African context. Then afterwards, once I understand that, that's when now I will start realizing that I don't need a Bible.
Tokozan, we seem to find ourselves in a very heated argument. Mkulu Shobenkulu is sitting on the opposite end and he says it is the Witchcraft Act, the suppression of witchcraft. For everyone's benefit, this act was actually an act used in England. That was used to demonize, and people were labeled witches.
Yes.
Women were burned and stake because of what the authorities were trying to achieve. It is now brought to a correcting to our people because again we're colonized by England.
Yes.
Right? And you're also mentioning something interesting there, that when you go to the church, it will tell you now all of a sudden Mkombot is not allowed.
Yes.
And people do not know this. Up in the 60s, they had to have a permit to brew Mkombot.
Yes.
You couldn't brew it because it was labeled as part of the witch.
But you must understand, that's where you must understand colonization that was brought.
By whom from this?
By the Europeans.
Christians.
By the Europeans.
By Christians.
Who were Christians. What I want to emphasize
We can't
is that
separate it from
there
this.
is a political agenda
Yes.
in refusing to brew Mkombot. The agenda was that we shouldn't have this drink that is entertaining us when we are happy. So that they make theirs, which is whiskey, which you will then buy, which even you as Sangomas today, you will find that money partner. Sort of pen on combo to water, send in this trade.
You're attacking us.
Apology. I withdraw.
For another day, that topic will be
Another day.
for your benefit.
Apology.
That I love though, Baba, into what is saying in Kulu. One thing that we need to learn out of yonke lento, out of ilento is tumor existing in South Africa, of course, because of that Witchcraft Act. It means that again spirituality knows no boundaries, and spirituality will always find a way to work. It was 1-0 to Abelungu because out of us camouflaging with those garments that we were able to practice.
Amen.
And we continue.
Amen.
And lastly, we don't prophet as African. We don't prophet as African. I'll
Okay.
repeat again. We don't prophesy or prophet as African. Because of
What do we
prophecy, because of prophecy is focusing in the future. So if I come to Prophecy and start telling me that yesterday I ate this, it's no longer a prophecy. According to the terminology, prophecy. Prophecy is something that is to come. So now I say as African people, we are siyaboniswa, we are seers, siyaboniswa. When we start saying as African people, siyapropheta, that is a terminology again that I'm against, that is coming from a book that it seems like I have a class, which I don't. Because of the calculation of those books, it kills African belief systems. Because of it comes to us finding ourselves like we are in contradiction, where we are not in contradiction. We are doing the same thing like like good Reverend Sonti says. We are doing similar things. African spirituality and spirituality is universal, but it is very important to understand our own African spirituality first.
Mkulu, our own spirituality in the Xhosa context. We had a prophet, and I'll repeat a prophet, called Nsikane.
Yes.
I'll leave Bapedi, they had their own and other tribes. We had a prophet because Nsikane prophesied of the coming of the whites from the sea. He said, the petty caution which was coins, because the notion of notes in terms of money is new. Back in the days, it was only coins, and Nsikane saw that. Remember, in our side, we didn't have our bartering system didn't have money included. Yet he said, "Bazawufika bephethe iqhosha elingenamncungu." Azothi again bafika bephethe iBhayibhile, but he said, "Yile ncwadi umqulu nomlomo obomvu," which was not the Bible. Uthi ngapha baxhaka iJoni, ngapha baxhaka umfundisi. So it says it talks to their intention. So how then can you say we don't prophesy? Because that was futuristic in nature.
Let me withdraw my statement.
Not
Not being specific. I withdraw it by not being specific.
Okay.
There are many African
No,
prophets.
you must withdraw it without
No, I
qualifying.
said there are many. I just wanted us sitting here.
Uh-huh.
We don't prophesy sitting here because of we help people. We are healers. When we heal people, we must diagnose the problem that happened in the past. Once we can be able to access the occurrence in the past, it's no longer a prophecy. But that's what I'm saying.
How about we stopping things that are to come? We're seeing car accidents because of Isimnyama.
No, what I'm trying to say, let me repeat again.
Please withdraw again.
What I'm trying to say, I'm saying Africans, we sitting here, we are seers.
Okay.
Seers, you can see something that happened in the past, today, and tomorrow.
Future.
But calling ourselves as prophets, us, calling ourselves as prophets, we are like Jacob, we are like Jesus, we are like John, we are like all prophets in the Bible. So I'm trying to say we must shift from there, because there's nowhere Moses has prophesied something which would receive his own. What he has done, he was talking and delivering the message of God. So for us, we need to be careful of the words that we are using, because at the end of the day, we'll claim titles that are not Africans. And African people will say, I'm Nangingumboni, I'm a seer, and Diabonis.
Mkulu, I will to everyone and everyone who's watching, I will agree and disagree.
Yes.
I do personally believe Ugutu Mkulu is anti-white, anti-Christian. He even now attacks the terminologies and say we are a seer, not a prophet. But in definition, what is a seer? It's the same thing. So if maybe Mkulu, this whole thing of Christianity was brought by a black person, you might have a different view. Because I seem to feel that you agree, as Mfundisi was saying, but you have a problem that who brought it. Thokozani. Mfundisi,
you know, also I just want to say, stressing what Ugogo next to me said. It's just the tilt of the coin. And one thing that have made me to survive, to be comfortable with you people. Not every
You people.
let me remove the you
Withdraw.
people. To be comfortable with African healers
Yes.
and iSangoma,
Yes.
it's because when I read the Bible, I find that there's a lot common. Read Genesis 50. The way sikhola ngayo iBible teaches us ukukhola umuntu ofileyo
Yes.
simlungiselele indlela. Ithi mkholeni. You know? And I can tell you now, if I see a Sangoma doing the same thing to umuntu ofile, it will be like, ha, babenza umuntu ofile. And yet it's there in the Bible. uJacob ukholwa
Yes.
wathanjiswa
Yes.
uYesu. I still want to say to all of us, it is because when the Bible, like any book, Quran, the way sindoctrinatwa ngayo ngaba bantu abayisebenzisayo, we even don't want to read it, and it has got lot of good things in it. The only challenge with us, we couldn't as Africans, because of lack of development, write our own book. Maybe busy Bible. Nobe bizawubizwa umkhulu wokholo.
Yes.
Nathi babe sinomkhulu wokholo,
Yes.
we will be able to engage nabo. That is why I say, don't look at the people that brought it. You'll be lost and confused in how they brought it. Look at what you can benefit. I still believe if you live a Christ-centered life, you are living Ubuntu-centered life, and they are the same. There is no difference.
Camagu. Then again, Mfundisi, why is the church not accepting its members when they become iSangoma? Why does the church then find itself conflicted on embracing these people?
Remember the church is a vehicle of oppression. And the church, look, let's accept. Take the Anglican Church.
And don't blame me when I say church now.
Yes. take the church itself. You know that we are more controlled from overseas.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So now why would you think the very Europeans who brought this Christianity to us will allow in their church for us to allow what they said it's wrong when they came and said bias converter? Why will then they allow it now? It's for the same reason they will never allow it. But where it's sad is when you see an African priest not accepting it.
Thokozela. Siyabulela Mfundisi. I just want to ask a question. Maybe Omkhulu ngapha will help me. Are Sangomas or healers or African healers who criticize Christianity like Omkhulu, are they fanatics or do they have a point? Do they have a point? Mkhulu, or are they fanatics?
They don't have a point, man. In a sense that I think I would always go back to one point. You see, if uthanda abantu, uzothanda abantu irrespective of whether umnguni or uyintoni. So it doesn't define you ukuthi uyintoni. So it's all about knowing who you are. And I still say, I still believe ukuthi there are a lot of things that are very good, as Mfundisi has put it, with Bible, that we can learn from the Bible and shape us. Because not all of us as iSangoma are good again. You see, there are those that are good, there are those that are bad. So it talks to the issues esikhuluma ngazo ukuthi abantu you see from kowabo into bana lo azangakhuliswe kakuhle. It talks to this.
So it had nothing to do with
Yes, if uqale from esikolweni secawe, then that has shaped you to become a better person. Even when you talk, you will talk uvakala into okubana lo muntu lona i-values have been instilled. And again, it talks to the situation esikhona ngoku kule nto kwi-country as a whole. Abantwana abancinci ngoku, we are not saying anything to them. even besenza into ezimbi. And again, it talks to all of those things. We have lost our values as abantu abamnyama.
Thokoza mkhulu.
I just want to add on something. And
Masiqale la mkhulu.
yes.
Umkhulu Magadla is labeling you a fanatic. If you do not have a point, you are just attacking without understanding or refusing reason.
No, let me make this clear. Earlier, offline, we spoken about the Christianity being found from the biblical context. Maybe I should have based my teaching, my points on the Christian verses and chapters, so that it can be clear what I'm saying. I am not against Christianity or criticizing Christianity. I condemn the book that was brought. You understand? Firstly, I condemn it. I don't criticize it. I condemn it for certain reason, and I approve it for certain reason at the same time. There are values of Christianity which shapes people. A lot of people have been shaped by the values of Christianity. But there are certain things again that are condemning African spiritualists or African healers. I made a practical example to say I would not allow my initiate to be condemned for the belief system of their forefathers and start saying they are demons. When they themselves, the book that they are reading is also for the forefathers, which is even in what Amadlus as well. In what Amadlus, but not Amadlus Wagiti, Amadlus was somewhere. So what I'm saying here, when I raise the issue here of being not following a church, the Bible has brought problems. I am saying very clear to say we had values. We had. I made an example. We believed in God. We lived longer. We understood things. We had respect. Before even the Bible teaches us about respect, we understood fornication and adultery. That's why muti, so when he does that act in an African culture, everything that we lived. That's why I said the Kemet says that the Bible is a replica of the ancient books in Africa, because of the African cultures have built certain scriptures. Then they came to get a buy-in here. We need to understand that. They brought the Bible to get a buy-in here. And then left out to read the Bible, then they go and play golf on Sunday. So we must be careful of things that are brought to us and understand the history behind that. So what I'm saying, I respect everybody.
Okay.
As Ubuntu, you need to respect everybody. You do not have to condemn everybody, but you can condemn the deeds. Because of the deeds is what derail a person from being a person. So we need to differentiate this thing. The deeds the Bible has brought to us to a level of me greeting mama with somebody, being a healer. He will think because of this is what he reads, this is what he believes about me, this is what he thinks about me, to say I worship ancestors, for an example, without understanding my belief. That's why I say we go backwards. We understand our African spirituality, the relationship with spirits as African, before we are taught about Gabriel. Let's understand, why the child, when it's coming out of the tummy, is calling to say ma, not ba. We must understand this to me, so ma. The angel of life that creates life. As we know as African, people make a child, but God creates a child. How God created a child is African, because of goodness, inside here, that shapes a child. So once we access that knowledge, before we access the knowledge that was indoctrinated to us, then we'll find the mental liberation.
Thokoza mkhulu, we seem to have strong arguments on both sides. Those that are coming from the point Kamkulu, the school of thought Mkhulu Ibrahim is coming from, and those Baba Usonti is also coming from. We understand what we believe in. We all believe that both of these things are right.
Yes.
But I want to give Ogogo the opportunity to say, in the healing space, should we combine this for the benefit of the masses that we're healing? Or should we become fanatics, or we become Christians and be against Ubungo? Can these two, Ubungoma and Christianity, coexist in the healing space for the benefit of our clients? Thokozani Gogo, I give you that opportunity before we close.
Okay, I think Baba, well, this is my belief, Muti, as a healer, I fully agree with what Umkhulu is saying based on his belief, right? And Nami, as a person, I have my own beliefs. So for me as a healer, it works to merge the two. Why I'm saying that, it makes sense for me because we Umkhulu touched base on the fact that when we say we are prophets, we foresee things, right? And that's where Ubungoma comes in now to say the other prophets saw what's gonna come. So what do I do as again Ngoma to prevent that from happening? So either way, it will coexist for me as a healer in order to help the person who came to me to seek for help. So at the end of the day, it's all about a person's belief.
Thokoza. Cook.
For me, Mkulu, it would have to be, are we both, Christianity and Ubungoma, willing to let go of the pain firstly? Because I feel Ubungoma, Africans are in pain, and there's a level of healing that needs to happen there first before we can actually say they can merge with Christianity. Because we feel that this whole thing that you want to force down my throat hurt me in this way. But having said that, Africans were never confused of who God is and who our ancestors are.
Yes. Right.
Therefore, having said that, I believe that they can merge together and work beautifully together. The problem is Christians play monopoly on God. We tend to think as Christians that we know God better. And anything that exists outside the borders of what we know then does not exist. Right? And then there's Sangomas. I feel that Sangomas are receptive. Even in their pain, they are receptive. They might not voice it out, but they will not engage Christians. But they will be receptive of what you think or what you say, and they will say, I don't want to engage that because it's going to bring about the pain. So if the pain heals, then maybe I can see this thing working for the purpose of healing.
Thomas, I think the pain Gogo touches on is a very important point. It is not a pain of us because our generation might not even have experienced oppression or apartheid. It is the pain that our forefathers went through and that they were forced to accept Christianity. And I always make an example about this. Nelson Mandela, in his book of Long Walk to Freedom, says, my name was never Nelson. My name was Holishah. He went to a missionary school and the teacher could not pronounce Holishah and decided that you are Nelson. And that name got stuck with him. Now, when you look at that, of course, he embraced that name. That's why back in the days, there will be a form that says Christian name.
Yes.
It didn't say middle name.
No.
It said Christian name. That we're exposing our age in front of because this is what was happening. Everything Christian was seen as right and light. Everything African was seen as dark and wrong. But even and that is the sad part in Kulu, you are correct. Today it continues. Where my gripe comes in, whites don't need to persecute blacks today. Blacks are persecuting blacks using religion, using belief systems. And it is that we need to fight against. We are not here fighting against each other. We all agree that your values are correct of Christianity. We agree that African spirituality have great values that has been keeping our people together. But we cannot take away the pain that the whites brought together with this Christianity. That's why Nsekane says, in one side they've got a soldier that talks to intention of capturing. In one side they've got a missionary that talks to an intention of educating and manipulating you to buy into Christianity. Maybe with that said, I must thank all speakers. We can sit here the whole day and there will be points after points. But I would like to give each and every speaker a few seconds to have closing remarks before we close. Thokoza. Kulmakar.
Thokoza, thank you so much for this platform. I hope and trust ukuthi abantu, as Ugogo said, ukuthi it is up to a person. There is nothing that is forced into your throat. You can believe that the two can coexist or not. It is up to you. Amen.
Amen. Cool.
I want to end with the scripture that says, my nation are perishing because of lack of knowledge. That's what the scripture said, the Bible. So once we need to empower ourselves with self-knowledge first. Know what is happening in your house before you move out, because you might come in your house with foreign practices that will harm your house. Today our family structures are disunited because iSangoma, Christu, Muslim, India, as you have said. So we need to firstly understand how we existed ourselves first before we can learn how to coexist with other spiritualities. That's why I'm saying our nation, many people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. We need deep knowledge into us. Yes, I know it's not written in books, it's not written somewhere, but we still have the archives of African spirituality, the way it was practiced in Africa, in terms of understanding the spirits. So we need to utilize such people in order to learn more, so that we can be able to understand that as African people, how did they loot us into accepting the foreign books to us, because of it was indoctrinated with African spirituality which existed before they came with the Bible. Thank you.
My closing statement would be, I think it all goes back to knowing your lineage. For us to understand where we are going moving forward, whether young or old, it's all about having to know and have more knowledge, so that we are able to move forward in a sense yokuthi, even if you are being called nabadlozi to practice or to initiate, at least you know ukuthi what was the belief in the past and what is required of you moving forward.
For me, Baba, it would be understanding that not everything that you see is as it is. Not because umbona ngisangoma ngawuphatha umuthi ngiyathakatha. Not because umbona ngifake because I am holier than thou. Because everything is different as Maui Jongile and what is actually happening within. So what I would like to say is that look deeper and understand before you make your own conclusion of what something is.
I believe for us to live in this world and to co-live, we should be good to one another. Therefore, I have learned that Ubungomeni, Ubugqirheni, there is a lot of good. Ebukhestwini, nakwezinye religions, there is a lot of good. And therefore, I conclude to say, whether we like it or not, we already coexist. Whether we refuse to see that, as I have said, just a week back, we were doing Ash Wednesday.
Yes.
Tatumlota, Chisa, fagi oil, ndaqapha siphume sonke siqatyiwe. Omnye benibona uthi yo uvele eqhirheni, owazi inkonzo yasechurch uthi uvele enkonzweni. We coexist because our values and our intentions are good. Love, peace, forgiveness. People must be healed. That's what is key. All what we need to do is to stop undermining one another's beliefs. And the church is the first that must come out. As the church is still supposed to come out and go to truth and reconciliation, because ikawe ayikakaxeli ukuthi yona yenzani ekoppresseni abantu. Political parties ziyile. Nalapha enkonzweni, we need the church to come and tell the truth of the wrongs they have done to African people to oppress Africanism and African spirituality.
Camagu. To our viewers, I believe respect is what we need. Respect for each other's beliefs. Because if we do not respect each other's beliefs, we are killing the fiber, and that is Ubuntu in all of us. It is important for the young person who is sitting there and saying, I am gifted ngobungoma because everything is showing me that. Yet I'm also gifted in ngesithunywa, whether sisithunywa sasendalo, as umkhulu Ibrahim was saying, or isithunywa sasesonto, whichever it is, isithunywa. Don't get confused. Go deeper in understanding who you are in both areas. To the leaders, whether zizangoma ezifana nomkhulu Ibrahim or umfundisi uSonti, we say you must remember that your words creates and destroys.
Yes.
We need to be careful of what we are putting it out there, because it is people who do not have time to interrogate our utterances that take it as it is at face value and end up being destroyed. It is the church that must make sure, because I know for a fact iSangoma in their majority did not criticize the church, but the church at every given moment makes Ubungoma or African way of living to be something that is wrong. Time to respect each other needs to come. I then say, if we were to talk to government, if you do not intervene and make sure that this social cohesion that you want is managed in these spaces, you are going to find a country fighting each other on the basis of belief alone. We cannot allow that. Yes, Christianity was forced using wars and oppression and everything. Yes, Ubungoma today is seen as abatagati. Sometimes even iSangoma themselves are portraying themselves as abatagati. And then later, someone does not say iSangoma so and so, is saying iSangoma. Maybe as iSangoma, we also need to be very careful of what we are putting out there for people to consume. Maybe we're talking about influencers and those people that have a huge following. Please do not spew vile. Your opinions must not be facts. Make it clear, this is my opinion. Don't go and position something as facts, une anxiety, I'll trust. That is wrong. Because someone who's not that mature, spiritual or otherwise, listens to that and then they go and make it what it is. We can't be fighting each other on social media on the basis of belief, social cohesion, Camagu, Thokozani, Lisedi.